All right, hey guys, we're going to do a review video here on graphing lines. And graphing lines is kind of a basic skill of algebra that you need, and it gets you all the way through high school math, to be honest. So we're going to do a little practice round here. For this video, what I'd like you to do is for each problem that I put on the screen, I'm going to have you pause the video, write it down, and see if you can do it yourself first. This is great like test preparation where you pause the video, try the problem, and then you're going to unpause the video and see if you did it correctly. So the first one we're going to try, I'm going to letter him A, is we're going to graph y equals 1 half x plus 3. It'd be really cool if we could graph it and build a table. There's kind of like two things we're really working on here. So you pause it first and see how much you can do on your own. And then when you're all done, unpause the video. Okay, so I'm hoping you've unpaused the video and you've already done your own graph. I'm going to go through how to do this problem. First off, when I see this, it clearly stands out to me as y equals mx plus b, that standard equation for a line. And so I see that m in this problem is 1 half and b is 3. And what that means is that our slope, our growth number is 1 half. That means on a graph, our rise over run is equal to 1 over 2. And I can quickly identify that from the equation, from the rule for the line. B is that starting number. On a graph, that number always happens on our y-axis. We call that the y-intercept. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 3 on my y-axis and make that my starting point. Then I'm going to graph this rise over run of 1 half. I'm going to be counting up 1, over 2. Plot a point. Up 1, over 2. Up 1, over 2. Up 1, over 2. And you can do this as many times as you feel like until you've got enough points to take your ruler and connect and draw a line. So I'm going to connect my points, draw a line. And then if I'm going for a good quality line, I'm going to make sure that I show that this line goes forever and ever in both directions. I'm going to draw some arrows. I'm also going to do a couple of other things. I'm going to make sure that I write the equation y equals 1 half x plus 3 next to the line somewhere. I'm going to label it. And on top of that, I'm going to show that I really understand my y equals mx plus b by picking 2 points, any 2 points that you want, and kind of highlighting them with a growth triangle, showing that I can tell that it goes up 1 and over 2. Because that kind of shows somebody else that's looking at my graph that I understand the growth of the line. I'm also going to circle my starting number at 3 and label it as my y-intercept. And then I have a really well labeled graph. Now, on my table, if I decided I wanted to also make a table, here's a couple things I know I can put in the table. I know that at x equals 0, which is right here, that my starting number was 3. So 0, 3 is definitely a point on the graph. But because it's a 1 half growth, my next solid point doesn't happen until I get to 2. And then my next one happens at 4, and then at 6. So in my table, I'm going to show 2, 4, 6. And then I'm going to plot, or I'm going to write down the number that correlates on the y-axis. So at 2, it's at 4. At 4, I'm at 5. At 6, I'm at 6. Oops, why did I not write 5? 5, 6. There we go. And I could keep doing this pattern on and on. Notice what's happening in my table. Notice my x's are jumping up, and I'm going by plus 2, plus 2. And my y's are going up plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. And there's a direct relationship here between that rise and run, that 1 half, up 1 over 2, to my table, up 1 over 2. Lots of connections going on here. Anyways, you paused this one and then you unpaused it. Hopefully you correctly did it. You might check for the little details because if you're trying to be kind of advanced in showing your work, you want to make sure you have scale numbers, you want to label the line with the rule, you want to label the growth triangle, the y-intercept, all those extra details. Okay, so let's try another one. That was kind of our first one. So for B, go ahead and write this down. Graph y equals x minus 4. Y equals x minus 4. And then will you pause the video and try it yourself first? Okay, now if you've unpaused the video, you're ready to see if you got it correct. Again, I see y equals mx plus b, kind of hidden in this problem here. In this case, m, the number for m kind of appears to not be there, and what it really is it's the number 1. It's really y equals 1x minus 4. So when I talk about rise and run in this problem, my rise over run is really equal to the number 1, which technically 1 is the same as 1 over 1. So that's my fraction that I'm going to be working with. Now my b, my y-intercept, is at a minus 4. So b in this problem equals a negative 4, a minus 4. Which means down on this graph down below, I'm going to have to start down at minus 4, at negative 4 on the y-axis, way down here. And my rise and run is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And once I do this, a couple of times, I did a lot of points there. I take my ruler, I line them up nice, I connect my points, I draw some arrows, and I write my equation, y equals x minus 4. The only extra labels that I feel like I might be missing is growth triangle and y-intercept. So I'm going to circle negative 4, that starting number, and I'm going to label it as my y-intercept. And I'm going to go choose 2 points to make a quick growth triangle, maybe these two right here. And it's a real easy up 1 over 1, rise over run. Now in my table, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know that the 0 point started at negative 4. That was my start. So again, big connection here that the 0, that's my b in my rule up here, my minus 4. And then it grew with a pattern of 1. So it's going up to negative 3, to negative 2, to negative 1, to 0. And if I kept going, 5 would be at 1, 6 would be at 2. There's a pattern going on here. It's going up 1, up 1, up 1, and so on. And that's my table and my graph. Okay, so let's try another one as we're practicing and reviewing here. Part C, problem C. See if this one confuses you. Can you graph y equals 2x? Again, pause the video and go ahead and try it on your own. So you're unpausing the video now, I hope, and we're checking your answer. And like the last two problems, I'm thinking of y equals mx plus b. And in this problem, I see the mx, I see m is 2, but I don't see b. B is the missing piece in this problem. Well, so that must mean it's plus 0. There's nothing there. So I just have to kind of imagine that as being there, plus 0, which means my m, my rise over run, my growth, is equal to 2, which as a fraction would have to be 2 over 1, and my b is equal to 0, my y-intercept. So I have a starting number of 0, meaning I'm going to start at the very center of the graph, and I have a growth of 2 over 1. I'm going to be counting up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And after doing a few of those, I connect it and make my line. Draw a line, draw some arrows. I'm going to write y equals 2x next to the line, and then I'm going to quickly make a growth triangle and label my y-intercept. So here's my growth triangle. I'll do it up here. It's up 2 over 1, and then my y-intercept happens to happen right there at the origin, my y-intercept. And we call that point right at the center of the graph at 0, 0. The other word we have for that point is it's called the origin. The origin. The origin is the original starting point. It's right in the center at 0, 0. So that is the origin. Now on a table, in my table, if I just did some quick like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, my points are growing up to, up to, up to, but they start at 0. So I'm starting at 0, 0 at the origin, and then I'm going up 2. So I'm going to be at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, so on. And those table numbers should directly correlate to what goes on in the graph. If I say 3, 6 is a number, at 3, I better be up here at 6. right there, 3, 6. That better match up. So the table and the graph have to connect. Okay, so next one I'm going to have you try is kind of a weird one, and it's the last one for this video, and it's graph y equals 4. Y equals 4. And pause it first and see if you can figure it out, and then we'll unpause and check. Okay, so y equals 4 is one of those ones that confuses people a lot because I'm looking for y equals mx plus b. And this time, what's missing is the x. I actually don't see mx in this problem. I see a b. I see b is equal to 4, but I don't see mx. So if I had to rewrite this equation, I would probably rewrite it like this. I would probably rewrite it as y equals 0x's plus 4. There is no x in this problem, meaning that my growth number, my m, is equal to 0, but my y-intercept is equal to 4. And think about on a graph what that would mean. That means I'm starting at 4, but I'm growing 0. I'm not going up, I'm not going down. I have no growth. So as I go over to the next point, I don't go up, I don't go down, I stay the same. I go over to the next point, I don't go up, I don't go down, I stay the same. And that's going to continue on, which means y equals 4 is going to be this totally flat horizontal line with no growth triangle that I can draw. This is y equals 4. It's a flat line, and we call that a horizontal line. Horizontal. Where it goes totally flat. I can label the y-intercept if I wanted to. Like right here, the starting number is my y-intercept. But I'm not going to be able to make a growth triangle because, again, like I've said already, it doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. Think about it in terms of a table. Let's say we went 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, at 0, the starting number was 4. But then we just established that there's no growth in this rule. So when I went to 1, it's still at 4. 2 is still at 4. 3 is still at 4. 4 is at 4. All of my y values are supposed to equal 4. That's the equation. So it's just going to be 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 the whole way through. So that's kind of an odd case, kind of a weird case. Hopefully that helps. If you were able to pause the video and do all 4 of those graphs on your own correct, then you know you've kind of mastered this y equals mx plus b graphing, and you're probably ready to move into the next step. If you had trouble with it, you might want to go review and watch some other videos on graphing lines to really get this down. All right, thanks guys.